Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. You think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece. I run shit here. You just live here. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
You done it. Blind.
Straighter. Yep. Not a roundhouse right hand. And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill
Pull
somebody
back
for
a
a
little
few
bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right, I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
So, you want to challenge me still? That's fine. This guy right here, Chillwilliams, commented on one of my old videos 3 years ago because he's a Bud fan, and in his opinion or his mind, Bud never ducked anybody. And I told him he did a couple of days ago, but he went through all my videos, found a video from 3 years ago where I showed the proof and said, you are terrible. It was easier to do the WBO route because they were on his promotion team and they wasn't ducking like Spence, Thurman, and Garcia. So the WBO was a part of Terrence Crawford's promotion team. And he wasn't ducking like Spence, Thurman, and Garcia. The problem that you have, dude, is that Terrence Crawford was in a position to do these things himself. When Terrence Crawford was at 140 and he fought Victor Postol, these were the champions at 147. Terrence Crawford told Danny Garcia, August 9th, 2016, so I tell you what, tell your daddy, make the fight, and I'll show him how much of a paper champ I am at your weight for your belt. Terrence Crawford was just the WBC and the WBO champion. That's all he was. What Angel Garcia said is that Terrence Crawford was not made. He was given a belt. He wasn't made. He was given that. Danny Garcia worked and earned for his title. Terrence Crawford was given that title. That's what Angel Garcia said. Now, for you to say that the WBO was a part of Terrence Crawford's promotional team, you are agreeing with Angel Garcia. You're agreeing with him. You're saying that he was given the WBO strap because they were a part of his promotional team. That's why it was easier to go that route. It was easier to go the WBO route because they were a part of his promotional team. These are your words, not mine. Now, this is what Terrence Crawford said to him, though. I'll go make the fight and I'll go to your weight and I'll fight you for your belt. Well, Terrence Crawford, you are the WBC and the WBO champion because you have beat Victor Postol to unify the WBO, who you beat Thomas Delorme for. You have beat Victor Postol, so you have a unified WBO and WBC title. That's what you had. But again, these were the champions at 147. When you was talking about moving up to fight Danny Garcia for his belt, you wasn't talking about undisputed at 140. You was talking about moving up as a unified champion and fighting Danny Garcia for the WBC title. So you guys can't run this excuse to me about how he wanted undisputed. Because here in August 9th of 2016, he did not want Undisputed. What he wanted was Danny Garcia. That's what he wanted. But again, there was only 2 champions because he only had 2 belts. But I'll tell you later on how that didn't matter at all either. But for right now, he was a WBC and WBO champion. Well, if you was going to move up for Danny Garcia, then why couldn't you have moved up for Jesse Vargas? Jesse Vargas was the WBO champion. You had all the smoke for the WBC champion. You had zero smoke for the WBO champion. Instead of fighting Jesse Vargas or Danny Garcia, you fought John Molina, December of 2016, after calling out Danny Garcia in August of 2016. You fought John Molina instead. A dude who had 9 losses. He wasn't nothing at all. You did not have to fight this man at all. You didn't have to fight this man at all. Well, Danny Garcia fought Sammy Vargas the month before you fought John Molina. So you could have moved up as the WBC champion and challenged Danny Garcia. And you would have been made his mandatory. Yeah, you would have been Danny Garcia's mandatory had you moved up. That's what you would have been. But you didn't move up. You didn't even move up to fight Jesse Vargas, which would have been the better opportunity because Jesse Vargas fought Manny Pacquiao in the exact same month. The exact same month that Danny Garcia fought Sammy Vargas. The exact same month. So had you moved up to become, to challenge Jesse Vargas, you may or may not have gotten that fight, but you would have gotten Manny Pacquiao to be Manny Pacquiao's mandatory. That's what you would have been. And you would have jumped over Jeff Horn and Sambo Bradley. Yeah, you would have jumped over them both. Both. And Manny Pacquiao ended up losing to Jeff Horn in his next fight. Yeah, so had you gone the WBO route because they're on your promotional team, you would have been the mandatory to Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Because you wasn't talking about becoming undisputed in 2016. You was talking about fighting Danny Garcia. So in the exact same time of you talking about fighting Danny Garcia, who was a PBC fighter, you could have fought a top-ranked fighter that was part of your promotional team. That would have made you Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao's Mando. But you didn't do that. When you were talking about moving up, you wasn't going to fight Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia because you missed the ball. You dropped the ball on that. So when you dropped the ball, Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman unified. So you couldn't fight them. But you damn sure could have been the mandatory to Manny Pacquiao. And you wasn't going to fight no goddamn Kell Brook. You wasn't. But there's another plot to this. There's another plot. You would have been the mandatory to the winner of Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. If you wanted to, if you went the WBC route, you would have been the Mando to the winner. But you didn't. If you would have went the WBO route, which you should have because, you know, they're part of your promotional team, then that would have made you in line for Manny Pacquiao. So these are the names right here. But let's just do you one better. Let's do you one better. You would have been in line for Pacquiao at the exact same time that Errol Spence was in line for Kell Brook. Which means that Errol Spence fought Kell Brook the following year, 2017, in May. You would have fought Manny Pacquiao 2 months later in July. The exact same time that Pacquiao fought Jeff Horn, he wouldn't have fought Jeff Horn. He would have fought you because you were his mandatory. There would have never been a Jeff Horn fight. Never. Which would have made you the WBO champion, Errol the IBF champion, and Keith Thurman the unified champion. That's what that would have made y'all right then. You would have got a way better version of Errol Spence. Way better. Way better. You would have been more in line. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say more in line. What I would have say is the things that you were claiming would have been more in line. Because the 3 belts was on Errol Spence's side of the street. And you had 1 belt on your side at that time. But you would have fought Manny Pacquiao. Which would have made you the #1 guy at 147. And the money man. That would have made you that because you beat Pacquiao. I know, y'all don't want to talk about that. So let's get back into what really happened. So you fought in Dongo. And when you fought in Dongo, you became the undisputed champion, which made you the #1 guy to every single belt. If you wanted to. The #1 guy. So when you moved up to the next weight class, which was 147, you would have been able to fight any champion you wanted, except for Keith Thurman because he was a WBA super champion and he had no mandatories. But you could have fought Errol Spence for the IBF. You could have fought Jeff Horn for the WBO. And at this particular time, you could have challenged Keith Thurman because he was a unified champion. So you might not have been able to fight him for that WBA, but you could have fight him for the WBC. And had you beaten him, then you would have been the WBC and WBA. That was your claim. You could have pressed that. You could have became this man's WBC mandatory. He more than likely wouldn't have fought you. More than likely, because he ended up dropping that belt. So what ended up happening is, when you moved up, when you officially said you're moving up after the Ndongo fight and you dropped the IBF belt right away, and then you held on to the other 3. Yeah, you dropped that. As soon as you won the IBF, as soon as you won the Undisputed, you dropped that belt before the week was over with. So that nobody could say, why didn't you become Errol Spence's mandatory? You took that out the picture immediately, and then you kept the other 3 belts. Whatever. Whatever. Doesn't change history. Doesn't change what you could have done. But this is what it looked like. Errol Spence was the IBF. Jeff Horn was the WBO. Keith Thurman was the WBA. And Danny Garcia was #1 to the vacant WBC title. These are facts. Absolute facts. And you could have fought anyone you wanted to. Anyone you wanted to. You picked Jeff Horn. But let me guess. He was part of your promotional team, so that's why you could do it. The problem is you ended up moving to 54 later on down the line, and you fought that guy right there. Yeah, you fought that guy right there. You are not a part of the zone. You're not a part of Matchroom. You are an independent free agent, Terrence Crawford. They're not a part of your promotional company at all. You're an independent free agent. So how does this excuse square? He was part of the promotional team. How does it square? No. See, the reason why you was able to fight DoorDash is because you beat Errol Spence for Undisputed. Yeah, you became the undisputed champion at 147. And when you did that, you had the pick of the litter. And you picked DoorDash. Yeah, the WBA fixed their rules. And we started getting rid of extra belts, which is they started to drop the WBA regular or the WBA super, whichever one you want to call it. They got rid of one of them. So now there's just one WBA belt. And that's not even in all the sanctioning body. I mean, all the divisions, but it's in this one. It was in this one, which is the reason why you was able to move up and pick and choose the fighter you wanted to fight. And you picked DoorDash. Y'all want to talk about that? You picked DoorDash. You picked the WBA. I digress. So you could have fought Danny Garcia right here. You could have moved up, challenged for the vacant WBC. You challenged for multiple vacant WBO belts. Yeah, when you fought Thomas Delorme for the WBO belt, it was vacant. He wasn't the champion. It was a vacant belt. You had no problem challenging him for the vacant WBO. So why couldn't you challenge Danny Garcia for the vacant WBC? Oh, BF, it was sides of the street. He couldn't go over there, BF. But I thought that didn't exist until Errol Spence said something about it. I thought it didn't exist. I thought Errol Spence made it up. I thought EJ was the one that made it up to avoid Terrence Crawford. So then you could have fought Danny Garcia because it didn't exist then, right? Because y'all said Errol made it up. So when you moved up, you picked Jeff Horn. You could have picked Danny Garcia to fight for a vacant WBC title. You fight for the vacant WBC title. You beat Danny Garcia. Then you go back to Top Rank and unify with a Top Rank fighter in Jeff Horn. You didn't. So now what was the problem with you fighting Danny Garcia? What was the problem? Because you moved up and fought Jeff Horn in June of 2018. Danny Garcia was ranked number one. Number one. So instead of going Danny Garcia, you went the Jeff Horn route. I guess that was the easier route that you said. You know, you're terrible. It was easier to do the WBO route. So then you're blatantly telling me that the man went the easy route. Your words. But I'm the one that's terrible. But these are your words, that the man went the easier route. The easier route. It's your words. It's not my words. They're your words, bro. I digress. So, what was going on then? Because I could have swore Danny Garcia said a couple of things.
Crawford, maybe? Yeah, he came at me a few times. Oh, there you go. Oh. Well, we got a rivalry already. Okay. We already fought 2 times for free. So it's all about settling the score.
How were those fights?
We went 1-1 in the amateur.
So you just you need the tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Knocked down at this point.
No, it's the amateur. Nobody gets knocked out.
Yeah, well, you're standing 8. Excuse me.
Right. No standing 8. One fight.
Thank you.
We are 1-1 in the amateurs, and it's time to settle the score. That's what he said.
I had a conversation with Terrence Crawford a couple of weeks ago. He acknowledged that you're high ranking in the WBO. I told him you were number 1. Yeah. He encouraged to allow the WBO to say mandate the fight. I would like it. He said it was a good storyline. You guys fought in the amateurs and didn't speak anything negative, but he said he would like that fight. If they mandate you in that, would you be interested in facing Crawford?
I believe I'm ranked number 1 WBC, yep. WBA, and WBO.
Yep, so you got a lot
the ball's in my court. But yeah, for sure. Like I said before, this is a business, and anything can be made if it's just done right. There's really not much to say. I mean, we fought for free.
Yep.
Anything can be made. Not one time is this man saying, we're not going to fight. I don't want to fight him. It's not going to happen. Not one time. What he's saying is, this is a business and anything can be made. Anything can be made. This is the one y'all talk about. He couldn't fight him because of the size of the street. But y'all say Errol Spence made that up. He could have fought Danny Garcia. See, he ended up sending Danny Garcia an offer for $3 million. Danny Garcia said, bro, you're pound for pound. Show me the money, bro. How are you going to give me an offer for $3 million I made at the fight Rod Salka?
There was lowball offers sent to you opposed to giving you what Amir Khan was offered.
What was Amir Khan offered? What did he get?
They said anyone 5 to 7 while you were room to get.
Bro, how you get 5 to 7 million and I already beat him in his prime?
True that.
And I heard somebody told me offered like $3 million, bro. Me, to fight Rod Salka.
I made $3 million to fight Rod Salka, bro. You're Terrence Crawford. How the fuck you gonna give me $3 million for this shit? This is the same Terrence Crawford that wanted more money when it came to Errol Spence. You want more money for Spence. Oh, I need all this money. I need all this. It's got to be me. It's my favor, blah, blah, blah. And then you guys make these weird-ass things. Oh, well, BF. He was the champion, BF. As the champion, he can just tell Danny Garcia what he's going to give him, blah, blah, blah. We didn't tell Sean Porter. Sean Porter didn't fight this man for just $3 million. Sean Porter got a percentage. But see, they didn't want to give Danny Garcia a percentage at all. They didn't want to give him a percentage. He had the same ranking as Sean Porter. And he ended up fighting for more money in a different fight anyway. But let's keep going on to listen to what he has to say.
Would probably be Terrence Crawford for you. Is that something you're interested in and something that you'd be willing to go ahead and want to do a big fight with him? Because I think something like that would be a pay-per-view fight.
I mean, if the money's right, the pound-for-pound money's right, I'll fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? But that's on the other side. It's top rank. And then they have to work, I'm definitely, that would be an issue because are we going to fight on Fox? Are we going to fight on wherever, ESPN? So
I think it'd be like a joint pay-per-view.
I mean, the fight can happen. So that's what Al Heyman and Bob Arum got to get together and put the money right. Get the money right and make the fight happen.
Is that something, though, that's interesting to you, Terrence Crawford?
I mean, yeah, any fight, like I said before, any welterweight fights are interesting.
Huh. Once again saying, bro, show me the money and let's make the fight happen. You're pound for pound. Bro, it's on you guys. You're the A side. It's on y'all. It's on y'all. You're the A side. You want to fight me. It's on y'all. I'm telling you what it's about for me. My legacy is good. It's on y'all. I'm in here to make some bread. I'm in here to fight the big fights because that's where the bread is at. It's on y'all. What's good? That's Danny Garcia to Terrence. Don't take my word for it.
Would you fight Crawford?
I fight anybody, like I said before. I'm in this sport to fight the best and make money.
Right.
At the end of the day, I'm in this sport to fight the best and make money. This is what I do. Like, I already fought him for free in amateurs.
Right. You might as well get paid.
Show me the money.
Right.
If you pound for pound, show me the money. Let's get this popping. But
so you don't have that first he's a top rank and you would think
if the fight makes enough money, if the fight makes enough sense,
right.
It's just like Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. They was one top ranked, one was premier boxing. You feel me? And they made it happen because why? It makes sense. A lot of money. But if it don't make to split it against two fighters, it probably won't make a lot of sense unless it's generating a lot of money. And I know I'm gonna bring my money. I know I'm gonna generate my money from my side.
Right.
It's all about, at the end of the day, that's more than just fighters. Like I could come up, I could sit up here and say anything to you, but that's big. That's more than boxing. That's politics.
It's politics. Yeah, it's more than boxing. Danny Garcia is telling you, bro, we can get it popping, bro. We can get it popping. I'm in here to fight the big fights and to make the big money. We can get it popping. You're not offering me big money at all. The money that you offer me, I made to fight Rod Salka, bro. And then they never gave him another offer and then turned right around and fought Amir Khan and gave Amir Khan $7 million. When Danny Garcia knocked Amir Khan out in his prime. When Amir Khan had belts. When Amir Khan was dominating motherfuckers. Danny Garcia stopped him. But yet you offer Danny Garcia less. You lowball Danny Garcia and you offered Amir Khan more. And yet you're telling me that Danny Garcia ducked Terrence Crawford. Fucking phenomenal. The reality is Terrence Crawford ducked Danny Garcia. That's the reality. But I know y'all don't want to hear that. Doesn't matter to me. Now why didn't he fight Errol Spence? Well, he was undisputed when he moved up and fought Jeff Horn. Errol Spence was the IBF champion. Terrence Crawford could have moved up and challenged Errol Spence for the IBF title. He fought Jeff Horn in the exact same month that Errol Spence defended his IBF title against his IBF mandatory. Terrence Crawford could have became Errol Spence's mandatory and fought in the exact same month that he fought Jeff Horn. Both of them was for one belt. He wasn't fighting Jeff Horn for a unification. It was for Jeff Horn's belt. One belt. He wouldn't have been fighting Errol Spence. He would have been fighting Errol Spence in a unification. It would have been for one belt, Errol Spence's belt. So fighting Jeff Horn or Errol Spence would have been for the exact same thing. But again, you're telling me he didn't do that because he went the easier route. He went the easier route because the WBO was a part of his promotion team. The WBO is part of Terrence Crawford's promotion team. The WBO is a part of Top Rank. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because if that's the case, then why didn't Terrence Crawford fight for the WBO title at 154? The WBA was looked at as being part of the PBC, which is the reason why Tank Davis keeps fighting for the WBA this, the WBA that. That's why Keith Thurman had the WBA this for so long and they never stripped him. Yeah. But he was able to fight DoorDash for the WBA title at 154. It's all good. I know you'll move the goalposts and talk about something else. It's okay. It's okay. That's totally fine. But see, there is a problem here because I challenged Bomac myself. I challenged Bomac because I asked Bomac, why didn't he fight Errol Spence? Don't worry. I kept the foul. Explain to me why didn't he go after Errol Spence when he came to 147?
Man, nobody trying to listen to you. Ain't nobody trying to listen
You
to
said to ask you another question, didn't you? Didn't you say ask you a question? You just said ask you a question.
Listen,
you just said that.
All that Errol Spence, all that fighting, that shit is dead because your man don't want to fight him.
Thank
That's
you.
why he just big.
So I'll say it again. So I'll ask you again. While I'm pulling this up, you just said ask you a question. While I'm pulling this up to let you can hear your words. I just said, why didn't he fight Errol Spence, become his mandatory, which he could have did when he moved to 147? Now, that is a very clear question. It's a very clear question. But there is a reason why Bomac kept deflecting and moving around and saying it's dumb and saying these type of things, stupid question. There's a reason why, because he knows he could have. And nobody asked him these questions. Nobody. My bad. Nobody asked him these questions. No one. And that's the reason why he was put on Front Street. Look at his face. Look at the man's face, bro. Look at his face. He knew what it was, but let's keep going.
Wait, you say what? That sounds stupid.
It sounds stupid when I say, why didn't Terrence Crawford become Errol Spence's mandatory? That sounds stupid. So it doesn't sound stupid to become Jeff Horn's mandatory. But it sounds stupid to become Errol Spence's mandatory.
That is stupid. That's a stupid question.
It's a stupid question to ask, why didn't you become Errol Spence's mandatory? But you can become Jeff Horn's mandatory, but you can't become Errol Spence's mandatory. It's a stupid question. That's what I thought you did.
Bomac, I got a question for
That's
you.
the answer I thought
All
you
right,
did.
let him answer the question. Go ahead, Bo. Answer the
That's
question.
Hold on. He said, why did he fight who?
Why didn't he fight who? As if you don't know who the hell we're talking about. The conversation is literally about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. That is the conversation. That is the whole conversation about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And the man says, wait. Why didn't he fight who? You know who I'm talking about, Bomac. Stop the cap and lies. Because that was what the full conversation was about. Why didn't he become Errol Spence's mandatory?
IBF. He was undisputed. He
IBF
had all the
mandatory.
belts. So why did he not fight? Why did he not go the IBF route since he was undisputed?
Because we went the WBO route. It's easier to go the WBO route.
You went the easy route.
You went the easy route. It's easier to go the WBO route. So you went the easy route. You didn't take the difficult route. You didn't go the hard way. You went the easy route. Your words and Bomac's. You went the easy route. That's why he didn't fight Danny Garcia. That's why he didn't fight Errol Spence. That's why he waited those guys out and never fought Danny Garcia. That's why he didn't become Keith Thurman's mandatory, which he would have ended up, had he did become Keith Thurman's mandatory, he would have ended up fighting Danny Garcia for the vacant WBC title anyway. Because that would have made him number one And number 1 would have had to fight number 2 for the vacant WBC. That's what would have happened anyway. But see, he didn't. He went the easy route. He went the Jeff Horn easy route. He could have skipped fighting Indongo, and he could have fought Manny Pacquiao, which is a bigger name, a bigger accomplishment, a bigger legacy fight. He would have ended up fighting Errol Spence anyway. It would have just been a little sooner. It would have been a little sooner. Yeah, a little sooner. It would have been a little sooner, and you would have had a better version of Errol Spence. But instead, you went the route you went. You clout chased, and you ducked. You ducked Danny Garcia, and you ducked Errol Spence, and you ducked Manny Pacquiao. Facts. Because you could have put yourself in a position so that they had to fight you, but you didn't. You went the easier route, and yet this man is commenting on my video, acting like you doing something when all you did was kill yourself. Goofy. Talking about you are terrible. It was easier. So it was easier to go to WBO route because the WBO title was within the top rank stable. So doesn't that make sense why Errol Spence said it's easier to fight Sean Porter and knock him out? Because Sean Porter is a PBC fighter. It's easier to collect the belts on his side of the street because they're PBC fighters. They're in the exact same promotional team. But see, y'all don't, you know, when it comes to Errol, oh no, Errol said it's easier. It's easier. What he really meant was those guys are easier to beat. It's not easy to fight Terrence Crawford. That's what he really meant. But that's not what Bud meant though, right? What Bud meant when Bud's saying and Bomac saying it's easier to go, they're talking about because the WBO belt is inside of the top ranked stable. So that's what they're talking about. But that's not what Errol was talking about. You read Errol Spence's mind, and that's what Errol Spence was talking about. When you read his mind, he was saying, listen, these guys over here are easier opponents than you. You're a tougher opponent than them. So I'm going to go ahead and fight the easier opponents, and then I'll fight you. He never said that. Never. Never even insinuated it. Ever. Never. You guys did. And then you took the same words and you switched them around and said, that's not what Bomac meant. Bomac was talking about that because they're on his promotional team. But Errol was talking about it because he was scared of Bud and he was ducking Bud and he didn't want no smoke with Bud. And I know y'all never address that, but y'all will be in these comments. You'll be in these comments talking about, well, BF, what happened in the fight? Yeah, what happened though? When they fought, I don't give a fuck what happened at all. Because they didn't fight at this time when they could have. That was a different Errol Spence, a different Danny Garcia, a different Sean Porter. Oh no, it was the exact same, sure. And Mike Tyson was the exact same when he fought Jake Paul. It was the exact same person. It was still Mike Tyson. He was born Mike Tyson. When he fought Jake Paul, that was Mike Tyson. Same Mike Tyson that fought Buster Douglas, the same one that fought Lennox Lewis, the same one that fought Holyfield, the same one that fought all these guys, the exact same one. The exact same fighter. That was Mike Tyson. See how stupid that sounds? But you guys y'all won't use that when it comes to Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. No. That was the same Errol Spence. Don't matter if he had a car crash. Doesn't matter if he had an eye injury. Don't matter if he had a rib injury. None of that shit mattered. It was the same Errol Spence. His name's Errol Spence. Mama called him Errol Spence. I'm going to call him Errol Spence. It's the same one. Fine. Then the same Mike Tyson that fought Holyfield and Buster Douglas, you know, and Pinklin Thomas and all those guys is the exact same Mike Tyson that fought Jake Paul. See, you can't have it both ways. But I know you guys will try. Well, guess what, Chill Will? You cannot fuck with me. At all. At all. Never in your life. But keep trying, homie. Keep trying. If at first you don't succeed, lose again. Because there ain't no winning over here.
My office hours are from... My office hours are from...
9 the fuck?
Body bag in a body